up? We out here. I happen to be in the city of Holland. It's another episode of Go the Mission. I want to show you something because everything is not what it appears. Sometimes the trips you think you take don't end up being the trips you actually take. Let's check it out. All right, check this out. All right, it's got Iceland map, adventure travel map, Street Smart Iceland. This is brand new. This came out probably just a couple months ago. What a drop. Oh yeah, this guy. Special delivery, actually, straight out of Iceland. Discount key for gas. Yep, that's right. Cheap fuel all around Iceland. Orkin, main gas station there. Can't read that, but probably says the same thing. Also this on the back, camping card. In case you want to go camping all over Iceland. They got camp spots everywhere. Valid for me. You can see that right there. Card is non-refundable. Spoiler alert, that's why I still have it. But yeah, this thing is dope too. Delivered straight from Iceland Post. Boy, we out here. Yeah, so clearly I was more than excited to get to go to Iceland. I mean, I've been in Michigan pretty much since getting back from Palau to the States. 2 years straight of just classes and work and unable to travel. And man, I was itching to go. I tell you, put months of research in. Every little spot, every little detail, man, I was about it. Except for the one that did me in, and that was the gas. Whoa, $8-9 a gallon. And I was trying to do a camper van and driving all over the place. That one broke the budget's back for me. But the good news is, while serving in Palau, there's a couple there who is they're from Portugal, and I had been talking with them about visiting. After Palau, they went to Egypt. I was gonna go visit them over there. Need to tag off Africa from my list anyway. And unfortunately, because of COVID, they had to go home. But I said, hey, you know what? Why not go to Portugal and catch up with them over there? So, man, we were trying to find a way, but at first, the restrictions were unable to allow tourists to get in there. So I wasn't gonna go full steam ahead with Iceland, but once the barriers were down and my friend told me that it was free to come in, I said, you know what, we switching gears, changing the game, and we're gonna do it. And it's funny because I'll tell you right now, it isn't the trip that I initially planned and invested and put so much effort and time into, but it was exactly what I needed for a number of reasons. So check this out. Leaving the United States, you know, I got vaccinated way back in March for the express purpose of travel, period. No other reason except for this. So flew out of South Bend to Chattanooga, and from there chilled with my brother for a week and was gonna fly out of Chattanooga to Paris first, where I was gonna take a layover before going into Lisbon. Now, getting in the airport in Chattanooga, got there a couple hours early, as you should always do, in case there's something you don't know and they're gonna put on you at the airport. And sure enough, I go through the line, get up to the check-in counter, and the attendant tells me that I need some form, locator card. Have I done it? I said, no, I haven't. So she gives me a link, tells me I gotta go fill it out, then I can come back. And I end up going to do that, filling out the paper. I mean, it was light work. It took like 10 minutes. Basically contact tracing for international countries, whatever. Get that done, get on the plane, and it's a wrap. I go through, get to Paris, checked out the Eiffel Tower, which was cool. It's not necessarily what I expected, but you know, it was cool. It was cool. Check Paris off the list, either way. And it's off to Lisbon, Portugal. I'm not gonna tell you the details of the trip there. There are several videos that are gonna be coming out soon about that experience. So you'll get to see for yourself the things that I saw and experienced, just a little taste of the culture and what it's like to be there. 10 out of 10 recommend. Go check it out sometime. We out here. Man, it was the most refreshing week, just what I needed. I mean, sleeping until 11, 12 every day, going touring, exploring till late hours of the night. It was legit. Eating a lot of good food. Yo, what are we even talking about here? Crazy. Side point, absolutely unrelated, but I went out there at 209 pounds, came back at 201, but hey, I wasn't slacking at all, man. I was eating everything in sight and multiple of everything that I saw. Getting ready to leave, and it's Sunday night. Flight's rolling out at 5 in the morning, and so I said, you know what? I'm gonna get just a couple hours of sleep here, try to at least, and we're gonna roll out at 2:30 so I can get to the airport again, a couple hours early, plenty of time to do what I need to do, just in case there's something that I missed. So get to the airport, 2:30, flight's at 5, I get in line, it's a long line. And Lisbon's airport is pretty big. The vibe kind of reminded me of Chicago and Atlanta airports in a way, but it was more frantic. Even without the stores open and those types of things, just the number of people was very frantic, frenetic, that kind of word. So I go through the line, get to the front, and I'm talking to the attendant at the check-in counter, and I hand over my vaccination card, my passport, and I say, hey man, I'm ready to go home, ready to take the next step. I feel refreshed, game time. And he says, so do you have the PCR test? I said, what? He said, yeah, you need a PCR test. I thought the vaccination was good enough. Apparently it wasn't. So I needed to get a PCR test. He said, hey, no problem, it's okay. There are 2 spots in the airport, actually just down here in the same gate area where you can get these tests. Call this number, they'll reschedule your flight. We're gonna have to cancel this one because they don't open until 6. Of course, my flight left at 5. But he said, no problem, this happens all the time. We just switched up the policy a few weeks ago. So, you know, a lot of people are having to do this. They just call this number. The airline is more than willing to reschedule your flight. We got a flight going out at 8. We got a flight going out at 11 to Amsterdam, which is in Holland. All right, so here comes the story, right? I go in the line, get the test, 40 minutes later, clear, just like I thought, good to go. So I get on the phone, start calling these numbers, 3 different numbers, and I was on the phone for the next 5 hours. Look, 5 hours of hold, I dialed about 30 times trying to get through to somebody. And I actually did make contact with somebody twice, a guy and a girl. And both times they knew exactly what it was. That's what those numbers were there for. It gets to the point and they, hey, I need to ask someone a question. Can I put you on hold for a second? Oh, yeah, sure. You put me on hold. Hold, click. 2 times out of the whole 5 hours. And the whole time that this is going on, I'm tripping because, like, dude, I know that I just missed that 8 o'clock flight. I know that I just missed the 11 o'clock flight. And here it is around noon, and I'm still in the Lisbon airport. All right, been there since 2:30 in the morning. And I'm like, yo, like, am I gonna be able to get home? What's going on? So anyways, it comes to a point where I'm like, yo, I gotta figure this out by myself. So ditch calling, and I start going into overdrive. I didn't have a charger for my phone or the iPad, but you know, I was blowing up kayak.com, Delta app, Google Flights, Expedia, you name it. I'm trying to find flights, trying to find a way to get back into Chattanooga or even Atlanta, which is not far, and just something so I can get back. Problem was, just about every flight, one way, mind you, was like $2,000 and up. Bruh. I am not rolling like that. So I'm like, yo, like, I can't do it. I'm trying to find anything less than even $1,000 to try to get it done somehow. And I was just striking out. I'm trying to figure out, let me go through Paris. Let me see if I can connect here, all to try to get to Amsterdam, because I had a layover there. So I knew I had a window, but that window was closing. It was closing quick. Man, could I go through Germany, Rome, Barcelona, London? Can I land in New York, Atlanta, Miami? I was looking everywhere, trying to find a way to get back into the States in a flight in time. And the reason is because of why I'm actually here in the city of Holland right now. Work training, we out here, we gotta do what we gotta do. You know how it goes. I can't find a single thing, nothing. And then one pops up. Ooh, it was a flight that was gonna leave at about 12:15. It was about 11:38 at the time. I run up to the check-in counter and I say, hey, can I get on this flight? Can I get on this flight? Nah, we can't do transfers here. You gotta call the number. You just gotta keep trying. I'm like, dude, 5 hours. That's all I had to say, man. Couldn't do it. And then he told me to boot that they had just closed the check-in 2 minutes earlier anyway. So even if I would have gotten through on the phone call, it was still too late to actually check in and get on that flight. So I'm like, man, the window's closed. The layover that I had in Amsterdam, that window was gone. I'm gonna have to try to find some kind of a new flight to get home, period, just to get home. So I go back, battery's running down. I was less than like 15% on the phone, less than 10% on the iPad, still looking, trying to find something. And I did finally find one when I stopped looking to get through Atlanta, Chattanooga, and to get back straight into Chicago. Whew. About $800. But hey, I was like, you know what? I'll take it. I'll try to get a refund back. They said they were going to do that anyway for the rest of my trip back, so maybe it'll balance out. I said, whatever, I got to get home, so I got to do what I got to do. Got that flight, left at 7:30, and boom, we on our way. Ended up getting to Amsterdam, chilling, spent the night. I did not go into the city, did not feel like traveling or exploring anything at all. The red light district at night can be, it can be, if you know, you know. And I was like, you know what, I'm all right. So I just said, let me go to sleep. I'm tired, man. I was in Lisbon airport for more than 12 hours and I just needed to rest. So I slept. Like a baby. Getting out of Amsterdam was an adventure in and of itself. Like, this is a flight international going straight into Chicago. There's literally 2 lines to get into this plane. Like, on that side, you have people who came from certain countries that were deemed not safe. And then on this side, you had people who were deemed from like approved countries. Thankfully, I was on that side. But the people on the other side, they're wearing like full quarantine suits, hazmat suits, masks, like even down to the shoes. They're covered up like head to toe, literally. Man, it took forever to get on this plane. And then even after we did, captain tells us like, hey, so someone got on the flight who wasn't supposed to be. So we had to get them off and then we had to get their bags off. So it took us an extra hour to get out of Amsterdam. The most peaceful part of this entire experience was actually being in the plane, flying over the Atlantic Ocean, because at least it's like, yo, going home. Landing in Chicago is like, we apparently happened to land at the same time as every other international flight that was coming in at the time. The captain comes on over the intercom and is like, hey, so yeah, we're kind of in this queue, so we can't go to the gate. We're just gonna have to taxi around until they have an open spot. We end up taxiing around. I think we landed around 4 o'clock. We ended up taxiing around for another 40, 45 minutes, just going around. We didn't even have a spot to park in because there were so many planes that were there. But when we finally get out, customs. And if you've been through customs before, you know how it is. Like, man, you're lucky to get through there quick. And like I said, it seemed like every other international flight was there at the same time. There was more than 1,000 people in customs in Chicago. It was nuts. I'll just leave it like this. We got off the plane around 4:45, 5 o'clock. I didn't leave the airport until 7:30. It was nuts, absolutely nuts. Even crazy at this point is like, I'm trying to catch an Uber to get to Millennium Station so I can catch a train to get to South Bend. And I got on the last train that was leaving to get to South Bend from there. But the train didn't even go all the way. About halfway through that trip, the attendant, the conductor comes through and says, hey, so everyone's got to get off the train right now. We were like halfway there, and there's going to be a bus that's going to take you the rest of the way to South Bend. So it's like, man, we can't catch a break out here. That last 40 minutes of the trip was wild. I remember getting off the bus and it's pouring rain. The sky was like lit up, like lightning was everywhere. It was so bright. I remember thinking to myself, man, this is it's a good thing I'm not flying right now. And I was like, oh shoot. Like the time that we got to South Bend was about 10:45, but my original flight was supposed to land in South Bend at 10:55. So I could have been flying at that time, or most likely would have gotten delayed and ended up being even later anyway. And this was actually true because I checked my email a little bit later, and sure enough, my original flight that would have flown up from Chattanooga to South Bend ended up getting like two 15-hour layovers in different cities and wasn't even gonna arrive until the following night. So it was just crazy how everything worked out. But the perspective came in because as I'm driving back home, realizing all of this, it's like I spent the entire day in Lisbon freaking out, thinking that, yo man, everything that I'm planning, everything that I'm trying to do is getting thrown so far off, and I'm trying to I'm having to pay more and I'm having to do more just to get to the same place. And it felt like I was taking an L. But the reality was I ended up getting back earlier than I could have, even if I had done things according to my original plan. I think God does that often, where we have plans, we have things we're trying to do, we have places we're trying to go, and the things that we're doing may not be bad things that we're trying to do, and the places that we may want to go, they may not be bad places, but God just has better ways of getting us there. We can resist, or we can just go with the flow and, make an adventure out of it, which is ultimately what it ended up being. They say hindsight's 20/20. Looking back, it can be a lot easier to get the perspective on different things in our life that we were just unable to realize or appreciate while we're actually in the moment going through it. There's a little something there too, like what if when we go through things in life that are not necessarily going our way or that are unexpected, what if we kind of had even more awareness that, you know what, maybe I don't know the whole big picture. Maybe there is something going on. Maybe there is a benefit or a blessing that I could experience on the other side. Maybe that would help us to be able to go through those challenging moments a little bit smoother, a little bit easier, a little bit more relaxed, as opposed to feeling so stressed, as it's very easy to be overcome with or to feel. It's also true too that there could be things that we've experienced in our past that we only look at as a negative, and that we've never given the chance to even think that there's any positive that could come through it. There's a lot of things that have gone on in my own past with my family that have been really hard to deal with in the moment. And I remember being really bitter towards people, towards a lot of different things, and even towards God in some moments, because I wasn't willing to try to be more aware to the fact that something else could be going on rather than what I could see in that moment. We get caught up in whenever anything happens, we kind of look at the obstacle like this. We're so close, we can't see what's past it or what's around it. And it's only when we take a step back and we get a little bit more perspective, we realize there's so much more around that. There's so much more context that helps us to see that better for what it is. And I'm not saying that this makes us happy for all the bad things that we go through and all the hard things that we have to face in life. But, a perspective shift can help people as a whole, I think, be more positive, more peaceful, and then more supportive and encouraging to others who are going through those difficult moments and who need a shoulder to lean on and someone to help them to say, you know what, I may not know what you're going through, but we're here for you. And just something like that, it may not solve the issue that someone has to deal with, but it can be a help just to let someone know that they're not alone. Anybody who's done any kind of living at all knows that it's rare that everything goes according to your plan, exactly how you plan it out. And you also know that some of the greatest benefits and blessings that you've experienced in life haven't even come from something that you expected. It was a complete surprise. So keep that in mind when you're going through different things, and especially when you're wondering why certain things are happening to you. There could be something on the other side that you never even saw coming, but maybe you were looking for the whole time. I think my encouragement for y'all is pretty simple. Like, don't just assume that everything that isn't 100 or super positive in your life is just absolutely bad and there's nothing good that could come out of it. take some time to try to add some perspective to that and to look at it from different angles and to see if there's anything that you could benefit from. You might be surprised. So what's something you get out of the experience? Feel free to comment it down below. Let's talk about it. This is Go to Mission. We out here for another episode. You know how we roll. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share this with somebody. Hitting that bell is a thing too. The podcast is live. You can find us on YouTube. We're on here, all podcast platforms. Just search for Go the Mission. You know, we out here to be out here, and you just gotta let it do what it do, baby. Until next time.